I got it now. You have 6 present, Mayor. Alderwoman Tapman and Alderwoman Reed did not answer.
Okay. Approval of the agenda. Someone give me a motion to approve the agenda, please.
Mayor,
Yes.
I would like to make a motion to approve the agenda with the amendment of the end time of 9:30 because it does not align with our ordinance.
That what? Say that again, please.
I said I'm making a motion to accept the agenda with amendment to the end time because we do not have an end time in our ordinance. To remove the 9:30 end time.
No, we're not removing the 9:30 close of the meeting. That remains. Now, if you want to make a motion to approve the agenda as it is, then that's fine. We're not removing anything. So can I get a motion, somebody, I don't care who it is, a motion to approve the agenda?
I'm trying to
Can
get,
I raise my hand?
I have my hand up.
Okay, go ahead, James.
Okay. Alderwoman Dales.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda for October 15th. Presentation of the unapproved minutes for a public hearing for 9/28. Special board member meeting for 9/28. Special meeting for 10/1 and regular board meeting for 10/1. And special, I'm not adding that. Special BOA meeting 10/8.
Is there a second?
I second the motion.
All in favor, say aye.
Point
Aye.
of order, Mayor.
Are there any opposers?
Point of order, Mayor.
I'm sorry, but we're in the midst of voting.
Just, I mean, it sounds very interesting to vote on unapproved minutes and we have not approved the agenda. We haven't approved the agenda and the motion was for minutes, approval of minutes. Yeah, okay.
Would you rephrase your motion, baby, just for the Alderwoman, just for the approval of the agenda, not the unapproved minutes?
Okay, I make a motion to approve the agenda for October the 15th, 2020, regular board meeting.
Is there a second?
I second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposers, nay.
Aye.
Nay.
Nay.
Call a roll, because I don't know who said what.
Okay, Alderwoman West. Alderwoman West. I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Nay.
Okay. Alderwoman Tapman. Oh, she's not here.
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, you, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, yes. Alderwoman Reed.
Nay.
Alderman Carroll. I can't hear you, I'm sorry.
No.
Okay. Alderman Thomas.
Yes.
Alderman Christian.
Yes.
Alderwoman Dales.
Yes.
Alderwoman Avant Elliott.
No.
Okay. 4 yes and 4 no, Mayor.
All right, then I vote yes. So let's proceed. Presentation of unapproved minutes.
I got my hand up. I'll make a motion.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. There's only 1 second. All right, Alderman Thomas, I'm sorry.
All right. I make a motion to approve the minutes from the public hearing on 9/28/2020, the special board of Alderman meeting on 9/28/2020, the emergency special meeting on 10/1/2020, and the regular board of Alderman meeting on 10/1/2020, and the special board of Alderman meeting on 10/8/2020.
Is there a second?
I'll second that, Mayor.
All right. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposers, nay. Ayes have it. At this time, we're going to turn the meeting over to the public for their comments.
This is Wanda Lane, 9900 Martingale, 9900 block of Martingale. Mayor, I was reviewing the workshop from Mr. Kelly, and he made a mention of the Parks grant. And I want to know who gave the direction to Tina Zimmerman to apply for a park grant on the behalf of the city of Belle Fountain Neighbors. Did you do that?
No, I didn't.
Okay, so I would like to know who did it, because whoever gave her direction to do that, I don't know who was responsible for making sure everything was submitted on time and correctly, but it wasn't. And as a result of that, the city has lost $410,500 because the paperwork was not submitted properly. There was a resolution that had to be included. The resolution was included blank. No signature, no sign from the city clerk, no seal from the city. And I am appalled that these 5 alder people who voted to approve the resolution in the August 12th illegal meeting, which is still being investigated at the Attorney General's office, number one. Somebody didn't know better, but everybody knows everything. But as a result of that, the meeting is tomorrow. We have now lost $410,500. And that was money that, according to the application, was going to be used to repair the swimming pool and other things related to the rec center. I think that somebody needs to be held accountable for the city losing $410,500 because the person who submitted this paperwork did so without the authorization of the city of Belle Fountain Neighbors. Now, I don't know where we go from here, but I think as citizens, we deserve better than this. We don't have this kind of money to just throw around and to lose. So if no one wants to take responsibility for it, I'll take responsibility for it. And I'll do my investigation. And someone's gonna answer for it. And yes, I'm very upset about it because there's too many people are trying to do too many things that they are unauthorized to do. And it has now cost our city $410,500. And we don't have an opportunity to reapply until the first Monday in June of the year 2021.
Point of order,
Someone
Mayor.
needs to be someone needs to be held. Someone
Mayor,
needs to be held
there's a point
responsible
of
for it.
order. Ms. Lane has now been speaking for almost 5 minutes.
No, she hasn't.
Yes, she has. I've been in there timing.
I'm overruling, I'm timing it too.
Okay, and so how much time do you have?
3 minutes just hit right now.
Okay, the time is up.
Mr. Mayor, I don't care if it's 3 minutes, 5 minutes, or 15 minutes. It's $410,500.
You never do care, and
that we are
that is
not-
the problem. That
You
is
know
part
what?
of the problem
You know
right
what?
now.
Unless you're out of
Is
order.
that you feel
can't
you
stop
can
people from
do
talking.
anything you
Yeah.
want to do And
You're
the
out of
mayor
order.
allows you to
I did
do
not
that.
lose I
And
did not
it
lose
really does need to stop.
$410,000.
I don't care, Miss Lane.
Ms. Lane, let me handle it. Let me handle it.
Yeah, you try to
are-
handle it.
You are out of order.
Yes,
Uh,
sir, and so are you and Miss Lane, and I will not stop talking until you recognize that I call for a point of order because she has been talking over her
I
3 minutes,
recognize your
which
point
is
of order,
what
and
she
you're still
does
talking.
at every meeting, and you allow it at every meeting, and it needs to stop.
All right, you're still talking, so.
Yes, sir,
you
I
done?
am, and I will continue to do so until you recognize my point of order.
I
Which
recognize your
is
point
a
of order.
valid point of order. It's
I
valid.
recognize.
So you have no reason not to recognize it.
I did, and you're still talking. You gave it, and you're still talking.
I
Okay.
like to talk as
Anyone
much
else?
as Miss Lane does, apparently.
Anyone else that want to speak from the public, please?
Thank you.
Mayor,
Yes.
I had my hand up. I just wanted to, I think that there's a little bit confusion around the community block grant, which you were handling, that she's confusing with the resolution.
No, I'm not.
The community block grant was not being handled by the resolution that Tina Zimmerman did. So,
Yes, it was too.
no, it was not. Check the resolution. Check the resolution. That was not being handled by that person. So that's misinformation.
We'll get to the bottom of it, all right. Anyone else from the public who wishes to speak?
Yes, this is CJ from 920 Fontaine Place, and I have two issues that I'm concerned about. The first one is the committees that are made up of the alder people, such as the Ways and Means Committee. They had a meeting earlier this evening, I believe. Will those be published on the Bell Fountain Neighbors website so that the public can attend these committee meetings? And then my second issue for tonight is the new market that's going up on Bell Fountain, the Gateway, I think it's called the Gateway Market. I wanted to know, A, are they allowed to sell tobacco products? B, are they allowed to sell alcohol products? C, are they going to have a full kitchen and would they be cooking on the premises? And that's my only concerns.
Joe Raven would have to answer that. Joe, would you speak to that, please?
Can you take me to
We'll get back to you on that. Your point's well taken, madam. And did you give your name and address?
Yes, it's CJ Mabry, 920 Fontaine Place. I did give it.
Okay, we'll get to you on that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else? Anyone else from the public who wishes to speak? All righty, then we will proceed. The approval of the city treasurer's report.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
So for my report, it's based on September 2020, the end of month. There was $3.3 million in funds in each of the accounts in total. Some of the key points that I wanted to point out as it relates to the finances and the treasurer's function, at least, was the fact that currently the audit is taking place. We've had field auditors in the office, and we've been in discussion with them concerning the different findings or potential findings throughout the course of these last 2 weeks. In addition to that, when it comes to revenue, sales tax revenue is unexpectedly up by 12% compared to the budget. However, licenses, fines, and recreational center activity is down 69% as expected due to COVID. But however, overall, the current revenue is slightly above budget by 5% for revenue, total revenue. As it relates to expenditures, the expense allocations across departments and funds are still being reconciled year to date. As I work with the finance clerk to ensure that each of the payables are entered across the months while we're still providing the backup documentation for the audit for last fiscal year. In addition to that, indirect expenses as a whole are below budget by 25%, and that's directly related to COVID and not participating in 100% all of activities that were expected. Some of the other drivers with the expenditures is the fact that we have insurance that was higher than budgeted by roughly 13%. And let's see, in-person services are trending below the budget, as I stated, due to the pandemic. But overall, we're still at a profit position as far as resources are concerned, not including the CARES Act grant that was voted on previously at, I think it was the previous meetings. Other than that, cash on hand with considering all of the financial obligations are liquid and cover all immediate expenses for the city. So there's no risk in not being able to cover expenses. That basically will conclude the report.
All right, thank you. Alderman Carroll.
Yeah, I got a couple of questions. Do you, by chance, know how much like revenue comes from the Rulers Market and Dollar General and all of that? Specifically, how much they make each year? Or Family Dollar, whatever it is.
Specifically, I do not have that breakdown, no.
Is there any way that anybody could get that?
I can make a request to the finance clerk to see if she has a breakdown of that information.
Could it be possible to do the whole Bissell Hills shopping area for every I think it's Rulers, Metro PCS, Family Dollar, Rosa's Nail Place, Fish and Chicken, and Grace's Wigs?
That's something that I can ask, because I know the way that the revenue is deposited is not based on individual properties. But I can have a conversation with her to see if.
Well, I guess what I'm getting at, because there's a lot of problems up there, and you know, I would like to bring up for the board to consider maybe, and the reason why I'm asking is if it would even be financially feasible to do something like that, but to get that area designated as a community improvement district, and levy like maybe a half a cent or a cent sales tax to actually, you know, hire more police officers specifically for that area. There's a lot of crime, drug dealing, that sort of thing, and so that's basically the basis for wanting those figures. So if it would even be feasible to move forward with something like that.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's a question for someone else to answer. Alderman Thomas.
Well, then who can answer it then?
You're muted, Alderman Thomas.
Mayor, excuse me, I'm saying, well, then who can answer that?
Well, when you start talking about crime and all of that, then that's for.
That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about getting that area designated as a community improvement district to levy like an additional half cent or 1 cent sales tax, and using that additional revenue to hire police officers specifically for that area, since those businesses won't, you know, hire security guards. So in order to move forward, if that's even physically feasible to do something like that. If we could raise that money or not through the sales tax or not, or if it's just a moot point. So who could get those figures then?
I don't know, Chief, is that something that would fall into your wheelhouse?
Understand.
Are you talking about income figures?
I want figures from the total amount of sales from the rulers, all the businesses in the Bissell Hills Shopping Center, and to see if we get that area designated as a community improvement district and levy an additional 1/2 cent or 1 cent sales tax, if it would even be feasible to hire like an officer or two just specifically for that area. But in order to know, how much income or revenue that could raise, you would need to know, the revenue brought in from those businesses.
I know exactly what you're talking about. So the financial figures will most likely have to come from the city collector because you're talking about income.
Okay.
The accounting clerk handles accounts payable and payroll only. Number two, and I've seen this model used at other places if the city is interested, is creating a business resource police officer. City of Arnold is a good example of that. If you want to look into it, it has become very, very successful. The officer or team of officers, the only things that they do are business related, crime education, and things of that nature. So that would be, if they would levy a 1 cent tax for additional police officers, that's probably something that you would be interested in doing.
Right, that's exactly. I think there needs to be a continual police presence up there because, like I said, Klein Park, there's continual drug dealings going on. There's shoplifting over at Family Dollar. I'm sure there's issues over at Rulers as well. But if we could have a dedicated police presence there at that area, maybe that would help with cleaning some of that stuff up.
Sure.
Okay. And then a second question, has anybody considered or has the city considered refinancing the bonds that the city has issued? I know interest rates have gone down, and I don't know if that's the same for bonds, but and I know we're paying a 3 or 4% interest rate on the I forgot 2008 bonds, 2009 bonds, and I don't know if bond interest rates are lower now. Like I said, I know that homeowner interest rates have gone down, and I don't know if that's the same for the bonds interest rate. But is that something feasible that we could look at or look into, or would that even make sense?
Yeah, I can follow up with the contact I speak with related to bonds and see if that makes any sense for.
Okay, and I forgot what year there's two bonds. There's the 2008, and I think it's 2008, and there was bonds issued back in. I know those were refinanced, and the city saved like $300,000 back in 2008 when they were refinanced. But like I said, I think interest rates have gone down, and if you could check to see if it would be feasible to do both and report back at the next BOA meeting.
I can do that.
Thank you very much.
All right, Alderman Elliott, Alderwoman Elliott.
Yes, Treasurer Howard, we kind of got into some conversation about this, but is it possible to revisit the protocols around the issuance of checks based on board approval to ensure that only checks goes out that are board approved, because that is definitely an internal control issue. So I know that we didn't get a chance to get a response related to that, but do you have any influence over that, or is that something that is addressed by the mayor?
As it relates to like the questions that we had on
Yeah,
email.
about the over 500s that the check
Yeah.
that got issued out that was not board approved. So
Right, yeah, so I wouldn't have any input on those. Because after the policy, at least, that's why I communicated just from the
okay,
standpoint.
okay, so it'll just be an internal control issue regardless of, yeah, okay.
Right, right.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you. Approval of invoices over 500. Alderwoman Elliott.
Oh no, my hand is not up for that. It's Alderwoman
One
Reed.
is up.
Who's that?
Alderwoman Reed.
Thanks, Mayor. I motion to pay invoices over 500. There are 4 of them for a total amount of $30,252.42. Withholding check 43091 for $904.48. Once product is received by the Public Works Director.
Alderwoman Dales. Alderwoman Dales. Unmute yourself.
Okay, I just did. I apologize. The check that Alderwoman Reed is speaking about, the items have been purchased and those are for the barriers. There has been a receipt submitted to our finance clerk. And I would like to ask Alderwoman Reed why she doesn't think that bill needs to be paid.
Mayor, I would like to second so the discussion could take place.
Well, I mean, I want to know when you're withdrawing that check as well.
We have to
I mean,
do
you
a
can't
second.
say, huh?
I'm just acknowledging that I'm doing a second, and then you have to step down if you want to debate.
Shoot, I don't want to debate. Do you want to debate?
Oh, okay. I thought you was about to ask a question about the check.
Well, I was going to ask a question about the check. It's been approved, so why are we putting it out if it's been approved?
If it had been approved by who? Did you approve it?
It's been approved by the board.
What you mean been approved by the board?
Okay.
Actually, what we're doing right
That's
now.
why we get into trouble with our bills, because you all pull bills out and
Mayor,
don't get paid, and then you want to know why this bill isn't paid. It's because you cherry pick these bills when they come to you.
But you pay them anyway. So why did you authorize WEC to purchase those signs? Then we'll know where to go from there, because at this point we asked prior to the meeting and our city clerk indicated she was not aware of who approved him to make that purchase, because the street department indicated they did not have those items in their possession. So how can somebody walk a
excuse me, I have a point of order. So there was a motion.
And it was a second, yes. I seconded, so that's why we were in discussion.
Well, I didn't hear the mayor, but y'all go right ahead.
Okay, yeah. So, so I was just wondering, how can somebody walk a receipt on to get reimbursed and nobody can say that they authorized it, and then it's on the agenda for us to approve? So that's a question for you. Then that helps us out, because we asked questions before the meeting to get clarification, and that's how we came to the consensus of moving it off, because the street department said they don't even have the items in their possession. And the city clerk indicated that she did not know who authorized him to make the purchase. So if we have two processes that are unknown, how can we go forth to approve something legitimately without that explanation? So did you approve it, Mayor?
Mayor, I can answer that question.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, hold on. Let me see what he's saying first.
I'm calling on Alderwoman Dales because she has her hand up.
Oh, okay. So you weren't answering the question about whether or not you approved it. You didn't approve it.
Mayor, I can answer that question for you.
Can
I answer? Okay.
Yes.
When the 8700 was approved, Michael Weesey, because he's previously been doing work for the city, with, like he did over in Ward 2, when nothing was ever questioned about when he purchased the items then, and there was never a question about why he purchased it or who approved it. When he fixed some of the lights that cover our city, when he's done multiple things over the city, and it's never been a question except for now, Ward 4, he had purchased these items because he, at that time, before he got pushback from Alderwoman Avant Elliott about the wards over in Ward 4. So as he purchased those, and since then, because he's gotten so much harassment and pushback from Alderwoman Elliott, he's decided not to do
I
the
object
job.
to that statement. I have not harassed that man. Please do not say that. Thank you.
I'm just going by the emails.
No, there's no email that shows harassment. Please not.
Okay, that's a matter of opinion. So I'm taking it as harassment, and he did too. Okay, so he has decided, based on the information that we have in our packet, that he's not going to do the barriers. And I spoke with Mark and Jeff and told them, asked them if they would be able to continue on with the barriers, and he said yes. And Michael Weezy will be taking the items to the street department when someone is available. He is not, he sent me a text of them. He is not, he's a person of integrity. He's actually was on our planning and zoning. He was one of our alder people before he wasn't elected, and he's not going to steal or take anything away from our city. He submitted the receipts, everything is there, and it should be kept on and paid for.
Okay.
He's a man of his word, and he has continually done what he said he was gonna do.
I have my hand up.
Okay, I didn't finish getting my answer. The mayor never answered my question because Alderwoman Dales did not. So if you can allow me to hear a response from the mayor about who.
He's not going, he said he wasn't going to step down, so he can't answer.
Right. And so.
No, that's not a debate
But
question.
Alderwoman Elliott, you're not running this meeting.
I understand that. I made an inquiry about a process for us to approve
City Clerk,
500.
mute the person, mute.
You can't direct her to do that. So I'm just asking.
Because
if you can't mute everybody else, then you cannot mute that alder person.
Right, that's harassment.
To mute you too.
No,
So
I don't. You don't want me to. Let me sign this.
I have my hand up.
I know.
He had his hand up. I'm trying to call you. She stopped talking.
Because now that's being rude, because I had a question that never got answered. You called on someone that I directed a question to you. My simple question was, who authorized him to make the purchase? Did you, Mayor, authorize him to make the purchase? It was just a yes or no.
No, I didn't authorize it.
Okay, thank you. So then we do not have a person within our city.
You all authorized the payment.
No, we did not.
Okay, I was reading Alderwoman Reed's motion, and within her motion, it states that she wants to withhold check number 43091 for $904.48. And once the product is received by the Public Works Director, clarification, Alderwoman Reed, by what I read, then we'll just hand over the check once it is confirmed that the items have been received. Is that not correct by reading your motion?
Yeah, Mike, I already talked with Mike via text today, and he said he would give it to him. You know, my thing is, it's not about Michael or anything like that, but it's about just our processes in the city.
Right.
You know, that we don't pay for $1,000 worth of something and have it sitting at our home. I understand there are signs, but the city should be purchasing product for the city. I mean, I can go out and go buy police cars if I wanted to, because I think all of them should be brand new, but the city's not going to reimburse me for that. You know what I'm saying? It's just, there's a process that we have, and we should be purchasing things for the city, especially when it's over 500 by purchasing people in the city.
Right, and I understand that, but I was just getting an understanding you in agreement with paying with paying the check. You're not saying that we're not gonna pay him.
Right.
Okay, once it's received and it's verified,
And Mark says he got
and Mark
it.
says he got it, I'm good
Yeah.
with that. Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
that's fine. I'm good with that too. Alderwoman Reed, your hand's up, and Thomas, your hand's still up. You done?
Yeah, I talked with Thomas.
Huh? All right.
I said what I wanted to say with Alderman Thomas, Mayor.
Oh, okay. Very good. Thank you. Madam Clerk, where are we now?
We are now at, we just finished approving the over 500s.
Okay.
So you would go to the city collector.
But did we get a vote on that? We didn't vote
Oh,
on it.
I'm sorry. We need a vote.
Okay.
My bad.
Is there a motion to approve the motion with the corrections that were made by Alderwoman Reed?
Mayor, we've already motioned and seconded it and debated it. We're just ready to vote.
Oh.
So we could have a roll call vote now.
Okay. Alderwoman Avant Elliott,
Yes.
Alderwoman Dales,
Yes.
Alderman Christian.
Yes.
Okay. Alderman Thomas,
Yes.
Alderman Carroll,
Yes.
Alderwoman Reed,
Yes.
Alderwoman Tapman,
Yes.
Alderwoman West.
Yes.
Oh, yes, Mayor.
All right, thank you. The collectors report.
Good evening, everyone. I'm going to do the collector's report for September 2020. The capital improvement tax current amount was $74,048.28. Year-to-date total, $180,000. What happened? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, because I'll have to, I don't know why. Okay, the cigarette tax current amount, $4,146.41. Year-to-date total, $8,314. The motor fuel tax, current month, $24,794.78. Year-to-date total, $69,363. Utility tax, current month for September is $20,032.19. Year-to-date total, $248,107. Motor vehicle tax, $14,642.44. Year-to-date total, $47,230. Personal property, real estate and sewer tax, $28,835.73. Year-to-date total, $82,803. Road and bridge fund, current month, $1,476.82. Year-to-date total, $4,705. Sales tax, year-to-date total, $112,387.71. County public sales tax, safety sales tax, Prop P, for the month, $59,693.22. Year-to-date total, $389,103. And the last one is financial institution taxes. Current month, $167,340.38. Year-to-date total, $167,340.38. The current total month for September is $395,010. And the year-to-date total for as of September 2020 is $1,310,313, $1,311,000.
That concludes your report?
That concludes it. That's it. That's all I have.
All right, thank you. Alderwoman Elliott.
Kathy, I sent the email about the liquor license. I didn't get a response.
When did you send, I didn't get any email from you regarding the liquor licenses. Is this something that you sent way back in August that you're referring to?
No, it was just yesterday, I believe. Fran was
Okay.
as well.
I
So,
didn't check my emails yesterday, so I wouldn't have received that message. I will check and
okay, well, you
respond
can
back to
answer
you.
now. It's okay. I was just trying to understand whether or not you had approved the liquor license for it to be back on the agenda, because we've had it on there about 3 times, and it should only be on here if you have said everything has checked out and the board is ready to approve it, but you know, it continues to come back on here.
So are you referring to the Dollar General?
$1, yes, ma'am.
Okay, well, the last meeting that I was at, you guys tabled it. And I think there was a meeting that I didn't know about, that you were discussing what needs to be done. So at this point, I did get an email from our attorney. I guess there was a conversation between our attorney and one of the aldermen. So I think I'm waiting for the board, since it has to be approved by the board, on what you would like to have done. Because at this point, that's why it was tabled, because there was several questions and it was reviewed by the attorney and was shared, the attorney shared everything with all the aldermen. So what direction would you like me to go with this?
Okay, so it's not what the attorney shares with us, it's you telling us that they have met all the requirements. And once you say that they met all the requirements, it goes on the agenda and then we approve it. So there is no one else other than you that could tell us that they met everything. So
I understand what you're saying, but when you say you're tabling it, there was a discussion saying that that there has to be, I could say go ahead and go forward with it, but there was discussion that it had to be approved by the board, and that's where it was left at.
yeah, but the approval of the board comes after it's been confirmed that they met all the requirements. So at this point, do you know if they've met all the requirements?
As far as I know, there was a question about the person who represents Dollar General not living in the area, and I don't know. Again, I have all the documentation. For me, if based on the ordinance, it should be approved. There were some other little caveats that the attorney has shared with you guys. So if you want it approved, then it will be approved. But there were some concerns, and that's why it was tabled, and that's why it's being held up.
Okay, so we don't approve it without you telling us that it's met everything. So that's why I was trying to ask, have they met everything based on our ordinance for us to approve it? We don't approve it until you tell us that they've met everything. It shouldn't even be on the agenda until we know that all of those processes are complete. So if there's things that are still questionable for us not to approve it, then we wouldn't. It's not what the board want to do. We only do it out of compliance with the guidance that you provide us. So that's why I had emailed to find out why it was being put back on the agenda. Because I know the very first time you was like, you didn't know why it was on there. So that's.
And that was correct. I didn't even know anything about it at the time. Okay. So that was correct at that point in time.
Okay. So right now is
Thank you.
Saying it's ready to approve.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Alderwoman Reed.
Sorry. Hey, Kathy. You know, I had mentioned this before about the liquor licenses, that they're all need to be reviewed, you know, approved again before the end of the year. So just wanted to make sure, you know, remind you of that, because in that process, you know, before the collector would list out all of the licenses that need to be renewed with, you know, kind of like a checklist somewhat of everything per ordinance that they have met, you know, and it gets presented to us before the end of the year so we can renew those licenses, because it comes as a recommendation from you. You know, say for instance, there's 8 of them, then you may say, okay, these 6 I recommend for approval, but 2 I don't, and because of these reasons. So that's just kind of, you know, the process. It's a recommendation from you if we should move forward with the liquor licenses or not. So that's going to be the same thing for you know, the existing ones that we have now before the end of the year.
So let me see if I'm clear on that. So you, before the end of the year, you want me to review the liquor license that we have in place and review them for reasonableness or whatever else that need to be reviewed. If there is a question, to bring it up with the board before the end of the year, so that, and to let you know what the statuses of all of these liquor licenses are. Is that correct?
No, I mean, it's just your recommendation. Like, I think there, if I'm not mistaken, I think there's 9 current
Yes,
licenses.
there's 9.
Yeah, so they all expire December 31st.
Okay.
So they all supposed to, I'm assuming there's some communication that you send to all those guys saying you need to have your application in by this date with all of the required items that they need. So you can present the renewals to us before the end of the year, so that those people don't have a gap in their liquor licenses, so they don't have to, you know, stop selling liquor. But
okay. I got it.
Yeah, that's it. So, and then did you ever get any more information on the Green Acre issue that's on our P&L now? You were going to sit and talk with Lori, but I know they had payroll thing. They had a loss, you know, data was lost from a couple months, and then auditors are in. So I'm not sure if you had a chance to talk with her and understand that.
If you're referencing, I think it was at that meeting when the mayor ended the meeting, and we had the information back then, because the next day Lori got the monies that were in question, and she got them from the contact, and so that was deposited back in August.
She got money for Green Acres?
Or are you talking about, yeah, you're talking about Green Acres,
Okay.
right? And that's,
yeah,
because you were concerned about they owed us revenue, and Lori looked into it, and we received monies from them. She gave me the documentation. I don't have it on me. That's what you're referencing.
Okay, well, if you could forward that to the board, then we'll all have it. I never saw that. I've
Okay.
I never got a response back on that whole Green Acre where we have the expense and the revenue sitting on the P&L, and no one understood that. So you said you were going to go back to her. Okay, I don't remember getting that. So if you could please just, you know, re-forward it to us.
Okay.
That'd be great. Thank you
All
so
right.
much.
Alderman Thomas.
Yes, sir. Hey, Kathy, Ms. Broussard. I was, one of the questions that I asked the manager that was at our meeting on, I believe, 2 weeks ago, when he was there to present on the liquor license, was that he contact you because of the many questions that we had. And if you've got all those answers and your recommendation is that they do obtain the liquor license, then that's what I would go by. But I did
Okay.
ask him to call you.
I didn't have a conversation with whoever you're talking about. I don't know who we spoke with, but it was not me.
Right, but you can check with city clerk to get his name, and I believe she probably has his phone number. If you could just follow up with him, because he was unsure of even having a conversation with you concerning the liquor license.
What person are you referring to?
The gentleman from Family Dollar that was on our Zoom.
Chris Baser.
Okay.
I believe that's who it is.
Okay.
Yes, Basler, that's me.
Oh, he's
here.
Tonight. Well, Chris, could you call our collector and just have a ta-ta-ta with her concerning your license, so that everything that might be confusing can get straightened out?
Well, I actually spoke to our attorney, who spoke to your attorney, who spoke to her. It's like I said, the last meeting, there are some things that are above my pay grade.
Right.
So yeah,
I haven't spoke to anyone. So can Chris, who did your attorney speak with? Because no one says spoke.
The city attorney. She sent me a note that the city attorney and her spoke.
Okay.
Excuse me, may I speak?
Yes, you may.
This is Dorothy White Coleman.
I'm sorry,
I am the city attorney, and I have not spoken to anyone. I exchanged an email with Ms. Williams, who asked about the next meeting, and that was the extent of it.
I'm trying to screen through my emails here, but it says the local license was approved on June 24th, signed by the city collector, mayor, and city clerk. However, post-issuance, we were advised on June 25th. I've been told that they're putting the license on hold until the city attorney looks into it a little deeper. With that, based on the city code and correspondence, the city attorney, Dorothy White Coleman, only the board can approve the application for a license to sell liquor. And it seems that the issue had been issued out of sequence. We will be attending the next board meeting at her request.
You said who signed off?
I have, sorry, let me get back to it. Give me one second. Putting the city attorney, Dorothy White Coleman, only, I'm out of order here. On June 24th, signed by the city collector, mayor, and the city clerk.
Okay.
It was approved.
Okay, thank you. Once again, thank you.
Now, can I say something? That was, I wasn't there to, whoever came in to get that. I was informed by Lori that we were waiting for everything before it was issued to you. So I did not hand over that license to anyone. So who gave you the license? Because it was on hold for that very reason before we issued it. So you don't have the actual license.
No, we don't have the license. It said the local license was approved and signed on June 24th by the collector, the mayor, and the clerk. However, it's been put on hold until the Board of Aldermen votes.
Okay.
My hand is up.
All right.
All right, Mayor, my hand is up, please.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. I just have a question. Good evening, Mr. Bachelor, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, last time you were before us, it was one remark that you made. I just wanted to make sure we understood. You said that normally when we were asking what criteria Family Dollar uses before they decide what locations are going to use to sell alcohol, were you aware that the Conoco that's within 300 feet from you sells alcohol, beer, wine, liquor, and everything?
Beer and wine, I knew about, yes. But again, as I said in the last meeting, some of these decisions are above my pay grade. I just go with what our marketing team and our leadership team tells us. So based on the volume of our store, which if you remember was what I said is our #1 driver, the volume of the store, and then the proximity to a liquor store, which sells full book, which I said at the point was, I believed about 500 yards was where if there's a total liquor store, then no. But I am aware that Ruler sells beer and wine. Yes.
No, I said Conco. The Conco gas station. The Conco gas station.
Well, yeah. Realistically, it's not a liquor store. I mean, they sell 50 mils and pint bottles, so they have a very small selection.
Okay. Now they have a very
and I can tell you, you asked me, what the volume was going to be in our selection. I just got my delivery for our store at the Clock Tower Plaza. Again, another high volume store without a liquor store within 500 yards. And we got 16 cases of wine. It's a 4-foot set that we'll be putting in.
Okay. Alderwoman Reed.
Thanks, Mayor. One last clarifying question from the city collector based on what Mr. Bassler said. So the city collector, did you sign the license for the liquor before you review the documents that they had, or did you not sign this at all? Or and then you found out we supposed to approve it. How was there a license signed before it being approved by the board? I guess that's my question.
Is
I
that
can't
question
really answer that right
directed
now. I have to think about it because that's been a while back. And when it was brought up to me in August, it was something that I thought had already been done. So I would have to and go back and review exactly what went on because it really wasn't a whole lot of information at the time. And that's all I can say. That's all I can say at this point.
I mean, because we don't get a lot of liquor licenses for in Bellefonte Neighbors. This is literally like the second one in the 3 years I've been here. So I'm just saying, did you sign the license first and then hold it? Or do you not remember sign? Because since you've been here, it's only been this one and that Gateway one. Which
I really don't remember at that point. I know I signed it at the time, but it wasn't being issued because of the information as far as when I spoke to Lori, because I guess the person, Chris or whoever it was that represented Dollar General, had talked to Lori. So Lori had submitted the paperwork to Dorothy, the attorney, to review. So she told me she was holding on to it, so nothing was going to be done until it was reviewed. That's the long and short of it, of my information at that point in time, up until August when this came up.
Thanks.
Alderman Tapman, your hand's still up that you have. You're muted.
I'm sorry, I just noticed I left it up. I'm taking it down.
You done?
Yes, sir.
Okay then. All right. Thank you for your report. Planning and zoning.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Planning and zoning had an in-person meeting this past Monday, October 12th. That was at City Hall. The minutes of the open and closed session of our meeting on September 14th, they were approved without modification and have been forwarded to the city clerk. We did ratify the closed session vote that was taken on September 14th. We had expected an applicant for a change of use at 9266 Lewis and Clark to be present at the meeting, but they did not attend. One of the items we discussed was location for basketball hoops. This is as a consequence of the recently passed nuisance ordinance. Case law was forwarded by the city attorney and forwarded to members. After discussion of possible mandated locations for basketball hoops and the root problem, which appears to be noise generated while playing basketball after dark, especially after dark, it was the consensus of planning and zoning that the remedy for that noise would be added to or enforced as part of existing Article 5 offenses against public peace, either in section 19-76 or 19-91. Possible wording additions could be, and this would be restrictions, playing basketball near a residence or yard whose occupants are not involved in the play, or playing after dusk. So that's what our recommendations are for basketball hoops, that would go into section 19 of the city code. We also reviewed the first draft of a food truck ordinance provided by Alderman Christian. Where to allow their use was among the topics discussed. We will review this again after members have had a chance to review the document further. And the last item we reviewed was possible changes to section 29-91, signs in residential districts, as to how the existing code could impact freedom of speech. Specifically, changes to 29-91-6A, limiting the time signs are displayed on residential property, and section 29-91-6E, limiting signs pertaining to the same candidate or issue to 1 per lot were discussed, including comments on both topics by the city attorney. After a lot of discussion, it was felt the existing code was practical in its present form and did not need alteration. We felt that the word arguably, which was used by the city attorney's discussion of both sections, could be taken at face value, and the commission chose not to recommend changes to those sections of the code. We do remain open to review other sections of the code regulating signs and their effect on freedom of speech as they are discovered. And that's the end of my report.
Mayor, can I interject?
Yes, go ahead.
Hey, when you talked about peace disturbance regarding the basketball play, I would be very careful on using peace disturbance within that. A police officer's peace cannot be disturbed. It requires a complainant for us to legally act upon. It doesn't mean that we can't have conversations with people, but if we end up having to, let's say, charge a reoffender who just won't quit, it requires a complaint of the public, a formal complaint, and most people don't want to come forward in that manner, but I still want to be able to enforce it legally without it having to be a peace disturbance style ordinance.
All righty, thank you. Building inspector's report.
Mayor, I'm sorry.
All right,
Thank you. I'm sorry, I raised my hand late. This is to Chairman Barrett. I've heard of, people trying to do Airbnbs, if I'm saying that right. I know we don't have any ordinance around that. That's something really new to, everybody. So I didn't know if possibly you guys want to look into that, possibly having some type of regulation on that. It's kind of new, like the food truck thing. I don't know, but maybe we should look into that.
We can take a look.
You know what I'm talking about, right? The Airbnbs, when people kind of rent it.
Basically renting out homes for as if they were hotels.
Right. Okay, thank you. Because I only learned it like a couple years ago.
Okay, will I respond to that?
Sir, no, it was just something for Mr. Barrett, the team, the P&Z to look into, because there are some like in Ward 4 I know of already. So.
Okay. Building inspector.
Good evening, everyone. I have a pretty short inspection report for this evening. We did have several residential block inspections and complaints we've investigated this month for September here. Inspections for occupancy have slowed down a little bit. We're down to about 28, 27 new inspections and re-inspections respectively. Building construction, we've had a few of those. We've got several deck and addition projects going on. As far as major projects, Gateway Market is one of the bigger ones. I think it was Miss Mabry or someone that asked earlier about some questions about that. They will have a full kitchen in it. We was there today looking at the new hood to be installed. They have a brand new industrial kitchen hood to be installed. They plan on having a full kitchen available and a full market available as well, from my understanding. Another item that's happened that's just about finished is the street work around town. Everyone's realized all summer long that the north half and the south half of Bellefontaine have been under pretty major construction of street work and new water lines. All that has been repaired. The repair work and sealing, the final grading and seed and straw has happened everywhere except for down on Donnell. They have yet to put down the new asphalt paving. They have the concrete curves and concrete street in. They have yet to put the asphalt down. Other than that, that's about the extent of my report.
All right. Yeah, Alderman Carroll.
I got a couple of questions. When you say block inspections, can you like specify what that actually is?
Any code or infractions for property maintenance around the city.
So you inspect so you inspected 208 blocks or 208 residents?
There were 208 infractions that were cited.
There were 208 infractions for property maintenance code violations in September of 2020. There were 2,008 citations issued.
208 inspection or 208 issues that were cited. Yes.
Okay. And then how long does it take to complete a residential inspection for occupancy?
That always depends on the condition of the home, anywhere from half an hour to an hour.
Okay. And then when you down here where under the block inspections where it says complaints investigated, it says 17. What is that? Complaints received by what is that from?
Those are complaints that have been called into the building department office. So specific complaints from residents that have had specific items that wanted to be addressed.
And then with it says court 0, grass notice 6, and waiver 5. Can you specify what that is?
Yeah, it's getting kind of late in the season. The grass notices are going way down. Obviously, those few stragglers that have not continued to mow their grass or vacant houses have not continued to be mowed that were still cited.
So those are citations that were issued. 6 citations for grass were
yes.
Okay. And then the waiver, I'm sorry.
Waivers are items that weren't completed at the final of the building inspection. They were given additional time to finalize an item, and we will waiver those items out, give them additional time to finish something.
Okay. Okay, and then my final question, down at the bottom where you say repeat rentals on the certificates of occupancy issued, what's a repeat rental?
I should be able to explain that better. Judy has explained that to me.
Yeah, if you could just email me, that's fine. That's fine. Just send me an email.
The rentals are houses that we know that are being managed and re-rented over and over again. If it's a repeat rental, it comes up as a repeat rental, and if it's a rental that hasn't been rented before, it comes up as a new rental, I believe is how that works. I would have to ask Judy that to be possible.
Okay, if you could, I'd appreciate it, and send me an email.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I can do that.
Alderwoman Elliott.
Yes, I was just wanted to ask him, Joe, if he was aware of what this K&P precast was. I did ask before the meeting and I didn't get a response. Are you involved in that?
K&P precast?
Yes, it says precast concrete sanitary structures include developed bases with inverts and flexible rubber gaskets. You know anything about that?
I don't.
Okay, all right, that's all. Thank you.
Alderwoman Reed.
Thanks, Mayor. Joe, yeah, I just had a couple questions on the block inspections, because I'm just seeing a lot of new things, you know, with new renters or new homeowners in the neighborhood that are doing things that are different, like boats on the grass. you know, cars covered up on the street or, you know, on jacks or whatnot. So with the block inspections, I heard you told the other aldermen that that's the number of citations. So I know it's only 1.5 for you guys, including everything else you have to do. But how long does it take for you to block inspect the entire city? Like, is it a 6-month turnaround? Does it take a whole year to inspect all the blocks of Bellfound neighbors? You know, it's
No.
always stuff going on. You know?
Right. Well, again, it's hard to be on top of everything as it happens, but it does not take that long to turn around going over the city. I mean, I drive the city 3 times a month at least, the entire city. And I'm in, of course, there's some areas that are much more traveled than others, just because of travel. Anytime I'm traveling around and I see infractions, I do write them down and we follow up on them. It's not always 100% quick turnaround on having things remedied, but we do go through the town several times a month.
Okay.
All right, thank you, Joe. City engineer?
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
You've got the report in front of you for the month of September. There were basically 30 occupancy permits that were issued, and then for this coming month, there'll be 36 building inspections for Joe to do, and you can see the other permits that were issued for this month. So it is starting to pick up a little bit, but it's maintaining. A couple other things is I checked in on the MSD project on Coburg Drive, and they are right now about 450 feet of pipe has been laid. They're still they're doing the whole project is about a mile, so that's about 5,000 feet that they have to do. So they're on schedule, and they're continuing with that. I'm working with Amy in the rec department to, and I've almost got it completed, a spec for replacing the existing roof over the gymnasium, the flat part it's leaking. And I should have to Mayor Pearson either tomorrow or Monday 2 names, and they'll be coming up to fill vacancies that we have on the Board of Adjustment. And I'm looking here. There was one last thing that I wanted to state, and now I've lost it here. Excuse me. Oh, I don't know if any of you, I know it's not necessarily a heavily traveled drive, but on Belgrove Drive about 2 weeks ago, USGS came in and they attached to the bridge going over Watkin Creek a gauge for MSD that measures the stormwater. It was previously further up, I believe, or was it down, on Watkins Creek, but it had gotten washed out, so they're going to put it there. That is one of 2. There's another one that is currently just down the street on the bridge that goes on Bell Fountain Road that goes over Mayline Creek right there. So that was basically it that I have right now.
Alderwoman Elliott?
Engineer Klein, could you please clarify for our residents what grant has been applied for? As who applied for the CDBC grant or whatever?
Which grant?
Grant. Who was assigned that you're aware of to complete that application?
I'm not aware of anyone right now.
But prior to that, who was you aware of that's supposed to have applied for it based on the emails that we received? So we got an email with both of us on there from Rodney Robinson.
Well, that'd be the one, but I didn't know if anything had been done on that because there was nothing. In order to get those, you have to have the plans, and then you have to have and how you got the plans. You have to make sure that if you had design consultants that you got, you went and got 3 different quotes and bids and looked that over. But then you have to have some type of drawing or something to show them with an estimated budget. And then you turn in, that's for the CDBG, the block grants.
Right.
But I'm not aware of any of that been turned in though.
Okay, because I remember when I asked you and you were unaware that he was even being involved. And since that time, we had not had an update, and we clarified that the board did not approve him to do it. And in the past, someone may have mentioned that the city clerk normally filled out the application. I'm not sure. We just was not aware of how his involvement took place. But, since the resident had wanted to investigate someone, I guess you'll be investigating the mayor. Okay, thank you.
Alderwoman Chapman.
Yes, I think the grant that was brought up in question was the Recs and Parks grant. There was a question asked about if we had gotten that grant, and we actually didn't. We lost the grant. I think that was the grant the citizen was referencing, was the 2020 grant for Parks and Rec. That's the one that was submitted where we didn't receive $410,500 because there was a resolution that wasn't attached and signed. And so we did lose that grant. I'm looking at it now. I had someone to find this one. So there's 2 different grants. The CBDG grant is different than the Parks and Rec grant that a Tina Zimmerman submitted on behalf of the city, but we were pushed out of the first round of notification because there was a resolution that was not signed. I have it here. So that's the 2 different grants. That's the grant she's stating. And I would like to know too, because that's $410,500 that we lost. We talked about following procedures, and a small procedure as that, a grant writer for 30 years would know that grant writing 101, if you don't have your doc page done, which is the signature of the CEO of the company, city, hospital, whoever you're writing the grant from, you don't even make it to the next round. And something as simple as not having a signature on a resolution, we lost $410,000.
Undo me. Am I unmuted? You got my hand raised.
Alderwoman Reed.
Thanks, Mayor. I can't hardly hear Alderwoman Tapman, but I thought we were talking about the the community development grant. That was only, I think it's like 29, it's under 30,000, I believe. That's the one I thought Alderwoman Avant Elliott was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
I just answered her reference to the previous remark that was made concerning a citizen investigating.
Oh, you were adding something else. Okay, I'm sorry. I was confused.
That because that's the part that, because it was stated in a previous meeting that the grant we lost was not, it was applicable to the mayor. It was attributed to the mayor in an earlier meeting, that grant is the grant that the mayor had authority, and I was just clarifying that the $410,500 was not.
Okay.
Since it was brought up again.
Okay, no, I thought you were talking, I'm like, that other grant was it's only 29 something. It's not 30,000.
Right.
That's what I was talking about. Okay. So with that one, did we lose that? Is that what we're saying? Because we didn't have plans or something, because I thought that was due back in, I don't know, September or something.
I don't know, a long time ago.
Yeah, that one was due a while ago to CBD, the Community Development Block Grant or something like that. So did that get filed? Because we had a hearing and everything for that. I guess that's maybe a mayor question, I'm not sure, or the engineer question, but as far as I know, Engineer Klein wasn't even a part of that. So did we file for that Community Development Block Grant, Mayor, or you?
Yes, we did.
Okay, so we had plans and all of that for the pool, because that was supposed to pay for the pool, because I know my question was, do we think our pool is going to be ready for hopefully next year if, you know, Corona is better? Is that on the ball, the pool?
That's the grant that she's referring to, the a park and rec grant.
No,
We're
so
not
we
talking
had.
we're not talking about the community.
No.
Yeah, we had voted on the Community Development Block Grant, that 29 something, to be used for the pool.
For the rec center.
Yeah, that was in the rec center, because we already knew we had all that problem with that outside pool. So we voted to use those funds instead of giving it to like residents or whatever. We all voted to use that 29,000 towards the pool. So I'm wondering, did we get that filed? You said yes. So how is the pool going? Like, have we started working on the pool with that 29?
No, the pool, I think Amy's on, but the pool, we had gotten a bid on that, Amy, for $150 some odd $1,000.
Yeah, I know it's gonna be more, yeah.
And then we needed a roof on the gym, which was $100 and some $1,000 as well. So that $29,000, we ain't even talking about that. Not for the work that need to be done over there.
There is an amount in the budget for like $129,000, but that lumps in the roof for the gymnasium, the update for the software that we have to have for the department, and the pool. So it's going to end up, probably the roof is probably going to be 80,000. The software update is probably going to be 10,000. So it's probably going to be like $120,000 for the pool.
Okay.
And we had, I can't remember right now, so I'm not looking at the budget, but we had so much money set aside in the capital budget for the pool and the roof. I don't remember the software, but it's been a minute. But I know there was funds already there, but we had decided to use to offset some of that expenditure with that 29,000 community development block grant. So that's what I was wondering if so we're not to that phase yet, Amy, with working on the pool. We haven't gotten bids that we've approved, or because I haven't seen them, but that's what I was wondering, if we're to the point of getting bids or whatnot on the pool, but we're not.
Let's get back on track, because we're wasting a lot of time here now. And the city engineer has concluded his report. Chief of Police. Chief, your report.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I'll try not to waste too much time. I'm going to open up with some policing activity. I was talking with my staff, and we've kind of organized a system where we are making more motorist contacts. I've gotten a lot of feedback, but if you haven't been aware, the last few weeks and continuing on from here, the police are going to be making quite a few stops because of the speeding issues, stop sign issues, and all the traffic complaints that we do get. It's an educational process. It's a deterrent process, and it still aligns with what I believe in policing is that a traffic stop is graded on the merits of that stop only. So with the results of that stop are dependent upon what happens on that stop. The second thing on my list is, and I brought this up a long time ago, and I've let it sit because the board's been busy doing a few other things. We do have a blown engine in one of our Ford Tauruses. Apparently it threw a rod. It was nothing. It was not operational error or a maintenance issue. It was just one of those things. The engine blew up. So in my mind, we really have three things that we can do. We can sit on it for now and do nothing. We can replace it with a used engine, which just some phone calls. It's about $4,500. Or we could replace it with a new engine at the tune of about $8,000. Something to think about is if we're going to prolong the fleet in consideration of the financial state of the city in the coming years because of COVID and income. I'm going to gather some information and present it in hopefully in the next board meeting. And I'm going to elect to probably recommend the replacement with a brand new engine. If we were going to keep our cars longer, a used engine may come with problems of its own, and a sitting car puts more stress on the rest of the fleet. So it's just something to think about for right now. As it concerns the CARES Act, phase 1 and sub-phase 1 have been completed. The ordinance and resolution that were approved by the city was submitted on sub-phase 1. So as of right now, we are current with our obligations with the municipal relief program. Phase 2, I attended a webinar. It's due November 13th. And the latest information I have, because they haven't opened up phase 2 yet, but phase 2 involves a lot of expense documentation, medical, public health, payroll, compliance measures, and other COVID expenses are the major categories. And this is the phase where we are line iteming things. Phase 1 was just giving summaries of those major categories. Phase 2 is basically showing invoices, identifying by employee, because public safety payroll is back into this relief program. So there's going to be a lot of back end work that goes into phase 2, but it's not going to open up until the funding agreement is issued based on an email I received at about 12:30 today. And I haven't received the funding agreement, but when I do, it will be given to the mayor according to the resolution and the ordinance. The mayor already has permission to sign the funding agreement, and we will return to county and move forward with phase 2. I came across a $2,000 surveillance camera grant for the city hall side of the government building. I had replaced the cameras back in the beginning of July 2019 on a grant, which ended up costing, I think, the city $1,500 total, because the grant money covered 75% of the total cost. The recommendation at that time to the board at that time was to replace the cameras existing and add a few more on the City Hall end, interior and exterior. I know there was some discussion about it, about moving forward with that, but it hit a roadblock and it hadn't been discussed since. I'm going to go ahead and get 3 bids for camera replacements, and I will resubmit that to the board for consideration. The grant's $2,000. It covers 75% up to $2,000. So if we spend around $2,750, that would use the full $2,000. Let's see, the state grant that we applied for earlier this year, you may or may not remember, it was for the electronic fingerprinting system. Our old one was expiring because of Windows 7. We needed a Windows 10 machine to capture electronic fingerprints. That is finally been installed as of yesterday. The company responsible for installing and doing the training wasn't available to do it because of COVID. That piece of equipment runs about, I believe it's like $20,000, and didn't cost us a penny because of the grant with the state. The Public Safety and Crime Prevention Summit was 2 Saturdays ago. I just wanted to mention, I thought it was great. It was a good turnout, a lot of good information. I did a 3-part presentation, back to basics, use of force, and body-worn cameras. The last 2 were largely based on our policies and practices. And if you want to see that presentation, go to the department's Facebook page, because I did Facebook Live it, so it's archived there if you're interested in watching it. Let's see. The MIRMA Police Seminar is coming up November 10th. As discussed before, MIRMA has 3 mandatory conferences per year. This is one of the 3. Instead of 2 days, they cut it down to 1 day. It is at the Lake of the Ozarks. I will be going down the evening before. We'll also have a police committee meeting because I'm on the police committee for the insurance company. And I'm just asking the board for, it's already funded in my budget. I'm just out of tradition, asking the board permission to leave the area to attend that training.
All right. Alderwoman Chapman.
I'm sorry, Mayor.
You got your hand up.
I'm gonna do better.
They say it often felt more like play than work. We've been back at any.
Somebody need to mute. Okay, go right ahead now. You got your hand up. Okay, you got it down there. Alderwoman Dales. Unmute yourself.
Thank you, Mayor. I have a question for the chief. I was wondering, years back, there used to be roadblocks where the policeman would, maybe like at the corner of Chambers and Bell Fountain, I guess you would join other forces and they would, stop people coming and going. Is there a reason why that isn't being done now?
We only do roadblocks for certain and very specific reasons. Usually they're crime related. If we're trying to gather information or locate somebody. We also did stationary activities when it came to seatbelt grants provided by the state. It depends on what you're talking about. There's a few different purposes. And I wouldn't call it a roadblock.
I just remember that they used to do it all the time here in Bell Fountain, that they would, I think they were at Chambers and Bell Fountain, but it's been years ago. And
you're talking like a DWI checkpoint?
I'm sorry?
Like a DWI checkpoint, something like that?
Yeah. And at that time, I think they did it maybe once every 90 days or so. I know that deterred a lot of individuals from coming through the city, and it did cut down on a lot of crime. And I was just wondering, is that something that we can probably maybe do in the future?
Yes, I'd have to check. What we did was we would use state-funded grants to do those tasks. That way, it wouldn't cost the city any money. It covered payroll and a bunch of other stuff and equipment and things like that to do an event like that. That's the way I prefer to do it, because it doesn't, the cost isn't laid upon the city, because if the city paid for it, it'd be pretty expensive. But I can look at some grants and see what's available out there.
And the other question is, would you also join with St. Louis County and Moline Acres? Because I noticed that when they did do the roadblocks, that they would have individual police departments at the other end. So when individuals turned around, so would that also cover the other police departments as well if they joined in with you?
That, you know what, that I'm not familiar with. We've never done a joint, we've never done a joint DWI checkpoint.
Okay.
That's not the way they've been traditionally set up. But it's been a while since I've looked at those grants. I can see if there is what I would call a combined grant where you have multiple jurisdictions involved in one event. I mean, that's a possibility, but I'd have to check.
Okay, thank you. We're getting close to closing time.
Okay, thank you. I'll call you with the other.
Okay.
Alderwoman Elliott.
I would like to make a motion to release Chief to attend the Murmur Conference.
I second, Mayor.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay.
Aye.
All right, ayes have it.
Okay, Mayor, I need to request.
I have one more thing.
Okay, go ahead.
It's okay. I did conduct an inventory of the city employees' mask in surplus. As of right now, we have about 1,700 masks available. We also give them out to the public when they come in as well. I've got a donation coming in from Behavioral Health Response, which is 150 masks. I think we have about 2 more supply pickups coming from the Office of Emergency Management for the police department, and they're ending the emergency management inventory program at the end of this year. It'll be no longer available. I've also reached out to a couple people looking for donations for masks. So keep in mind, I'd like the board just to think, no action needed to be taken right now, but over the next 6 to 9 months, free inventory is only going to last us for so long. So we may have to make a purchase, and that purchase should be timely, because if people start running out of their own inventory, it's going to be kind of like what it was before. It's going to be hard to get masks because everyone's trying to buy them at one time. That's all I have, and that concludes my report.
Alderwoman Elliott. Oh, well, that was you. You done, right?
No.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Mayor, can I interject at this point? There is the over 500s that we did not approve that came in at the last minute for the credit cards. We need to approve that.
Is that a motion?
I would like to make a motion to add the additional over 500s under unfinished business, so then it won't be out of order.
Is there a second? Alderman Carroll.
A second.
Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposers, nay. Ayes have it. Is that Alderman Carroll, is that your hand up?
Yeah, I got a couple of questions for Chief. Regarding the police department strategic planning plan, when are you going to provide a evaluation on that as to the progress or lack
An
thereof?
assessment? Honestly, I cannot give you a timeline. And I'm being straight with you. I've been personally so busy with my job. It's not a back burner thing. I believe in that plan and I try to follow that plan. I am trying to find the time to write up the assessment portion because I would like to make that available to the public. But as of right now, I cannot give you a deadline on that.
All right. And then the second thing, during the safety summit, you mentioned that you keep track of use of force and you make a report of the use of force. Is that report available to the board?
It can be made available.
Okay.
You're talking about you're talking about the annual use of force report.
Right.
Yes.
When do you do that?
The report is actually a living document throughout the year, and it closes out at the end of the calendar year.
All right. So
And
we
then-
can get a copy of that at the end of the calendar year then?
Oh, sure. We can put it on the city's website to make it even
Okay.
easier.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Chief. City Attorney.
Thank you, Mayor, and good evening, everyone. Finding a case precedent that addresses the ambiguities in the Sunshine Law is hard to come by. A recent case, however, out of the Western District of Missouri, Gross versus Parsons et al., could be very helpful in that regard. One of the issues, one of the burning issues that the case addresses has to do with the fees that may be assessed for search, research, and duplication time. In the case, the state argued that they were required to use an attorney to perform research on attorney-client privilege matters, as well as those matters that constitute legal work product. The court approved charging for attorney's fees as long as the charge was at the rate lowest paid by an attorney in the office. So this is a first. The second question had to do with what fees could be charged for the production of electronic records. There, the court did not allow attorneys' fees to be charged because the statute only indicates that the fees to be charged include those for the cost of copies, staff time, and they were not to exceed the hourly rate for staff. Some other questions addressed in the opinion have to do with the period of time that is reasonable to comply with requests, redactions, and purposeful violations. The case, however, is not final. The plaintiff has filed for an application with the Supreme Court, and if the Supreme Court grants that application, it will then be reviewed by the Supreme Court. So we'll have to wait to see whether it holds up. But it could be very useful because it addresses a number of issues that have been pondered by attorneys for a long time. That's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Unfinished business. Ward 4 barriers. Did we discuss that enough tonight? Alderwoman Dales.
We have, Mayor, because it's going through the street department.
Okay.
And that's basically it. That's what I was gonna state there. I talked with Mark and Jeff, and they're gonna be working to get that done for the citizens in Ward 4.
Okay. All right, thank you. Family Dollar, do we need to discuss that any further? All right, let's move on to new business resolutions. Alderman Thomas.
Excuse me.
Yes.
I think a motion was made to pay that U.S. Bank bill under unfinished business.
Alderwoman Elliott, then is that what you did?
Yes, sir.
Okay then, so let's.
It's not in the chat, and if we can, if I can just get the figure, because I wasn't able to pull it down. We had started the meeting when I got the email.
We're in the
You
chat.
put it in the chat.
It's up to you if you're ready for me to make the motion.
I thought, because we was going into, I thought this would be a good time to do it.
If it will be helpful, let me see if I can
Was it emailed to us?
Yeah, she sent it late.
Yeah, she sent it late. But did we vote to put it up under unfinished business? Can we go ahead and address it now?
Okay, so just okay, so the chief bill has flash drives, evidence printer, ribbon, investigative supplies, office supplies, t-shirt, crime prevention summit, tote bags from crime prevention summit, police car parts, 5 USB and terror station, and then the mayor's has I think it was like, okay, breakfast meeting at Cracker Barrel, Robert's Rule of Order books, program for treasurer and mayor ordered program online, and QuickBooks online to obtain a receipt, subscription of $75. So is that a monthly subscription? I'm assuming because it was on the last one. And then there was a bill that came in from Veneer Sales Services for one motor at $11.25. So the total is $5,460.69 that we will be paying for checks number 43-125 and 43-126. So if you're ready for me to make the motion, I can go. Okay. I move to approve checks numbers 43-125 and 43-126 for a total of $5,460.69.
Alderman Carroll.
Second.
Been moved and properly second. Is there any further discussion? Roll call. Do the roll call right quick in this. Let's get this one out of the way.
I'm sorry.
Call the roll.
Yeah, I was on mute. I'm sorry. Alderwoman Dales.
Yes.
Alderman Thomas.
Yes.
Alderman Carroll.
Yes.
Alderwoman West.
No.
Alderwoman Avant Elliott.
Yes.
Who's next? Alderwoman Reed. She's not there. Alderwoman Tapman.
Yes.
Alderman Christian.
Yes.
Okay, all yes except 2. Alderman Reed didn't answer and Alderwoman West said no.
Okay. All right, then let's move to the resolutions.
Mayor, I got a question. We keep putting that Family Dollar Store liquor license. This is about the 3rd or 4th time that it's been on the agenda. When are we going to address this? Why? I mean, you know, the manager keeps. This is at least the 2nd meeting he's come to, and we just gloss over this and don't address it. So I mean, I don't know what the plan is for this, or when are we going to address it, or if we are going to address it, or what. It's on the agenda for tonight.
Yeah, we're going to address that, and we're going to settle that one way or the other. And so you will have that at the next board meeting, Mr. Bassler. And because I'm tired of saying it on here too, and I know you're tired of being on here. So we're going to straighten this out right now. I can't tell you, but we will get together. I will get together with the proper people, and the next time you see us, we'll have a definitive answer for you.
Well, Mayor, thank you. And I just want to say, Alvin Elias, thank you, because last meeting you apologized for me having to sit through the whole thing. But seriously, this has been interesting for me, both meetings. So I appreciate the time. And if there's any other questions, I'll be happy to answer them. And Chief, I do owe you a meeting still. I apologize. My wife surprised me with the last-minute trip to Florida for 4 days, and I didn't get to come meet you. So I'm going to get that on the schedule for next week if that works for everyone. So thank you all very much.
All right, thank you. All right, let's do the resolutions right quick. Alderman Thomas.
Yes, sir. I'd like to make a motion to read Resolution 2020, number 7, but I need to I need to delete paragraphs 4 and 5. I'm sorry.
Okay, what's? All right, are you speaking?
Yeah, no, I had stopped speaking because I was waiting on a second for the motion. Unless I just read the resolution with the.
Yeah, read the resolution.
Okay, without paragraphs 4 and 5.
Right.
A resolution establishing the City of Belle Fountain neighbors support to apply for the STP grant for Shepley, I'm sorry, Shepley Road. Whereas the City of Belle Fountain Neighbors, Missouri is an incorporated municipality in the St. Louis County, and Shepley Road is located in the city and is in need of resurfacing. And whereas City of Belle Fountain neighbors agrees to move this project forward collaboratively and support it financially upon selection by East-West Gateway, MoDOT, and support the project through completion with a tentative scheduled end date of 2025. And whereas the City of Belle Fountain neighbors recognizes the members of the current board may not maintain their current status as an elected official throughout the duration of the project, and now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Aldermen for the City of Belle Fountain neighbors as follows. Be it further resolved that the Board of Alderpersons of the City of Belle Fountain neighbors, that any elected official who is elected after this resolution is passed honors the project and the financial obligations through to completion as established.
Is there a second?
May I have my hand up to second that? This is
I'm
Alderwoman
sorry.
Hales.
Yes, you do. Alderwoman Dales, you do, yes. Are there any
I
further
second it.
discussion? I got you. Alderwoman Dales seconded. Are there any further discussion? Alderwoman Elliott.
Yes, I was curious to why language will be on there obligating board members who are elected after this resolution, and who will be managing the project since the names are going to, the current person is going to be omitted. Who is going to be submitting the application? That's my inquiry.
I'm going to get with the city engineer, and we'll proceed on this together.
Okay, and then prior to the board meeting last year, there was a presentation by Rodney Robertson and another company.
Yeah, Wise Company.
Yes.
Wise
And,
Company, yeah.
okay, and it was a cost breakdown of what the city obligation would be. I know it was over some thousands. And I asked for that prior to the meeting to review, because if that's going to be a part of our obligation, then that should be a part of our consideration to approve the resolution, because that's a budget item that we will be agreeing to. So
This resolution does not hold you to any dollar amount. This resolution only give me and the engineer the permission to proceed. Whenever there's a cost, when we run into costs with or anything we run into, we have to bring it to the board for approval. This does not give us the okay to address the whole problem on the street. It's the permission to proceed. That's all.
So when the application is rewarded, we won't, so we might get it rewarded and then not approve the amount?
No. You would approve the amount. I'm telling you, we will come to you in every step of the way.
Well, that's why I was saying we did have some information in advance where they had already projected what the expense to the city was, that I was just trying to get another copy of, because it is already estimated what that cost for Shepley was going to be based on two people who.
But what I'm saying to you, this does not obligate to you to any cost. The cost will be brought to you when it becomes available. I guess is that you, Carol?
Yes, I got a
Carol?
couple. Yeah, I got a
Yes,
couple.
your hands up. Yeah.
Um,
I figured it was you because Alderwoman West is asleep.
no, no, she's not. I'm keeping her in check.
Make her stay awake. Shake her.
Keeping her in check. She's gonna snap on some people.
9:20.
So you ought to be glad I'm here with her. Anyway, I got when is the application for the grant due? When
that information we will bring to you. This is I'm going to start the investigation. That is why we took Rodney Robinson's name off, because we don't know at this point who the engineer is going to be. It's probably going to be our own engineer.
Okay.
And so this is just to give us permission to start the proceedings.
Sure. And then, and this was just a statement. I think I would concur with Alderwoman Yvonne Elliott. I have issue with making a future board binding them to a decision that we've made now. I mean, if there's 2 elections between, there's 2022 and 2024. I mean, if people decide that they don't want this Shepley project and they elect someone to no, we don't want this, but we've already voted to bind a future board to this. I don't think that's fair. And I would prefer to have a resolution that doesn't hold future elected officials to a decision that we've made now.
This does not hold future elected officials to anything yet, other than you giving me the right to proceed.
It's in the resolution.
But,
well, it's in the resolution, Mayor.
I understand that, but whatever we do when it comes to money and hiring people, it has to come to the board.
Well, quite frankly, some of those processes are circumvented. So coming to the board, I mean, there's been board that's non-approved, payment on certain things, and it's still paid. So, I mean, coming to the board really doesn't hold a lot of water to me when the processes aren't followed when it, 100% of the time. So, like I said, I personally would prefer, just to have a resolution stating, that we're authorizing you and the city engineer to proceed forward with obtaining grant funding or whatever. But I highly object to that language of holding future boards to this project.
So Mayor, I would like to make a motion to amend the resolution to add back the paragraph, whereas the city supports and authorize the city engineer to make the application for grants on the city behalf, and to strike be it further resolved from the resolution.
Alderwoman Tatman.
Yes, I was just going to enter into the conversation that.
Is there a second?
No, we were, my hand had been up.
Oh, it's normally a second after the motion for another.
My hand was up. My hand was before you made that. And we have not proceeded.
Yeah, I was just waiting.
Go ahead.
I didn't want to interrupt, but I was stating with the language in here, because the one I'm reading is the same thing. I think what it's stating, because everybody has their own interpretation. So when I read it, I interpreted it as if this, in the middle of this project, that the current board, the new board, would not then vote to stop the project. And that's the way I read it, whereas the city Bellefontaine recognizes the members of the current board may not maintain their current status as elected officials throughout the duration of the project. And it's only given the mayor and our engineer to explore what that is. And I guess it's just like the street grants and the bonds that we have now. We voted, the board voted, and say when the new board comes in, that project is already ongoing. This protects a new board from saying, well, we don't want to finish this project. That's the way I interpret it. I don't know if anyone else interprets it that way. I think it's a safeguard to say we're starting on this project. The mayor and the engineer is going to explore what it takes. And if new members of a board come in the middle of this ongoing project, it's protected. It won't be voted down or voted to stop doing it and redirect.
The Cobalt Lands project was ongoing when I came on board, when probably all of you all came on board. So we have to proceed. We can't keep losing grants on procedures. Alderwoman Reed.
Yeah, Mayor, I understand that the same way as Alderwoman Tapman, that thing, this project is not going to take a year. So obviously the board members are it's going to change, just like the 270 thing. But my question was, it does have a financial obligation to it, because obviously if we apply and we get the grant, we are, that'll look bad on the city that then we don't use it. So, but there is a dollar amount to these grants. Like
Right.
it is an amount. So it'd be nice for me, being a numbers person, that I like to know what financial obligation am I putting forth in the future? Are they finna be held to, like we had 420, I think, for that park grant. Are they and they were held to do 20% of that. So it was $84,000. So how much would we maximum have to pay to get awarded these grants? That's the part that I would like in this resolution. And, because it is a financial, the last word says financial obligation through to complete the, the project. So that's only my concern.
Right.
Is that we don't have a dollar amount.
There's going to be a financial obligation. Some of those grants, as you say, are 20%, 20/80, and so forth. So you're not going to get that done free. But we do need to proceed not to lose it so the city don't fall apart. People complaining about these streets. And Shepley is the only street we have left that will qualify for this grant. And Alderwoman West, don't be setting up, because I'm not the only person.
Yeah, I'm sitting up.
I am not the
Not
only
only
person
sitting
who
up,
lives
but I'm
in
raising
Shepley.
up.
There are a whole lot of other folk live on Shepley other than me.
All right now.
Yeah. Alderwoman Chapman, come on.
I'm sorry. I think, and Alderwoman Reed, I agree with that. But I think this is just authorizing the mayor to explore, just to find out what those grants entail, what we actually might qualify for. So we're like giving him permission to explore these different grants, not to actually enter into anything. Just, okay, we found one that's on here already. So
this is Alderwoman West calling for a point of order.
What's your point of order?
The point is the meeting was supposed to end at 9:30 and we're beyond that. And so I move that the meeting be adjourned.
Is there a second?
Yes, sir.
Is there a second? Oh, been moved and properly second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed,
Sorry,
nay?
who's second? Who's second?
I did.
Alderwoman Tatman.
Okay.
All right. Meeting's adjourned.
All right.
Did you say all in favor? I guess you did. I guess.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did.
Can you do a roll call?
Huh?
No,
You do
just
roll
do
call?
They all said.
We've already voted. The meeting's adjourned. We'll take it up at the next meeting.
All right.
All right.
Bye,
Good night,
everybody.
everybody.
Can you draft some new resolutions, Mayor?
Can I
You
do
know,
what now?
Yeah.
You know, have the new ones ready for us so we
Yeah.
can see it.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
And strike that financial part out of there, would be great.
Good
Okay.
discussion. Good
I'll
discussion.
talk, you know,
Okay, bye-bye.
I'll,
Good.
if it's all right, I'll give you a call and you can help out.
Who?
Is that good?
Wait, who?
Alderwoman Reed, with all your strikes.
I did not strike anything. It was one at the very end. But I think Thomas would do well with updating his own resolution.
Oh, thank you.
All I'm trying to do is make sure that we stop, that we don't lose money.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's all I'm trying to do.
Okay. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
All right, good night.
Good night.
I know.
Good night.
Good night.
Well,
It's time to
I got
go.
to make sure, that Alderwoman Elliott is off before I get off. She know how to call this.
You wrong.
Just call it back to order. Oh, the mayor go. Oh, it's gone then.
I'm getting ready to push.
Shut it down. Shut it down.
Shut it down. Bye, everybody.
Bye.